First of all, I have three perspectives to follow. One is my role as a UNESCO chair in global e-learning with the applications to multiple domains. That's what I am, in addition to being a full professor in education and communication. But this is, and I also serve as a principal research associate for UNESCO UNEVOC. UNEVOC is a Center for Training and Research of Vocational Education with the headquarters in Bonn, Germany. So this is one perspective I'm taking. Second perspective, my role as a European a specialist and expert for European Union on these matters. I say something of our approach, and definitely then the third perspective is my role as academic in the fields of communication and education. Very briefly, where are we now in the world? Nobody knows. We speak about globalization. We do not know exactly what does it mean, but definitely technology is central in this process of change. I will speak here only of digital literacy. It's a new concept. What is literacy in general and what is digital literacy? I tried to explain briefly, but in general, my approach is that digital literacy is a way of thinking. Instead of the linear processing of the text-based learning, we have associative reading and thinking and memory building in our minds. It's a big paradigmatic change. What other things are happening in the world, we can debate. But I put here three dimensions. First, value crisis. It's obvious that we do not share clearly such values that could be common basis for the globalization. It's a very big problem of cultural identity, its feeling of powerlessness, exclusiveness, and so forth. The problems, in my opinion, in politics are the lack of leadership. There's no clear political leadership for the globalization process. It's run by the multinational corporations and technology, which are good in their fields, but do not have the responsibility of political elected leaders. The problem is also economic, because we are thinking too much with the terms of industrial society. The concepts of society, progress, development are inherited from an era of mass-productive industrial society, European, American, Japanese, which is no more there. And furthermore, there's a cultural confusion. We confuse globalization and universalism, forgetting that all cultures are unique, language and value systems are unique. My role as a UNESCO chair is to be an acting president of this system, global university system. We are building new approach to 21st century global university, which is here in a very condensed form. But this actually includes everything that I want to say. First of all, what is the university of the information and knowledge age? It's still in the center of knowledge creation, in my opinion. It's not alone anymore. There are other centers of knowledge like think tank centers, industry research, corporate research, political and media centers that create knowledge. University is different because it also has this critical function, and it has also young generation innovative role. It is still in the center, but it cannot be in the center if it doesn't link itself to global and local needs. If you look at the picture on the left side corner, is a global partnership. This is where the digital library and e-learning comes to the picture, because if you are isolated from the global development of knowledge, you will be isolated more and more. So this link is vital. That's the way a small country like mine, Finland, wanted to take part actively in the process of globalization, not to stay outside. Many other countries, big countries like Brazil, and I know India, China, are actively taking part, but you are great countries with a lot of potential. But even small countries can actively participate and maintain links open, because the relevant knowledge today can be created anywhere in the world, and links must be to all parts. But secondly, on the other corner, on the right side, you have the community development. We are responsible to our own local needs, local community culture. If we break that link, there's no right to use taxpayers' money, and what is our role, after all, if we don't serve the strengthening of our own culture and our own interests? And then thirdly, up in a triangle, we have put the new applications of new technology, e-learning, e-healthcare. Because this is not, the new university is not the way, built in the same way as the traditional one on disciplinary basis. The old disciplines either disappear or merge with other new areas, cognitive sciences, computer sciences. You have new areas of interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary knowledge. So these applications are making progress. We do not know where they end up. As UNESCO chair, I share the view of the Director General that our role is to humanize globalization based on solidarity and the spirit of caring and sharing. And for that purpose, UNESCO is promoting open educational resources. This is very central for the topic of this conference and any other activity for open access educational learning materials. What are open educational resources? This is being discussed at the moment. There's no common agreement. But what I can say, bringing this vocational aspect, which is much favored by governments also and industry today as a challenge to the traditional academic education, that 2 years ago we had a conference in Germany where we realized that it's necessary to rethink the whole system of education. We have new concepts, multiliteracy, multimediality, which didn't exist before. And this is where the digital literacy comes into picture. From UNESCO official documents, I can refer to the report presented in Tunis 2 years ago on knowledge societies, where UNESCO came to the conclusion that we have to speak in the plural, knowledge societies. And we have to ask, when we are dealing with knowledge institutions, knowledge for what? For whom? Are we endorsing the hegemony of the techno-scientific model too much? I only want to say that it is different understanding of knowledge today than it used to be in the past when the present universities were built. We have this paradigmatic change of moving towards computer-connected networks, a process which is going on and we do not know where does it lead to. It's too fast. In the earlier period when we had the traditional media, or we had the traditional print media and other forms of communication, we had a reasonable long period of time to consider the consequences and estimate economic and social impacts, what comes when mass medium is being introduced, or television, in anything in society or education. Now, we do not have that time. Politicians, leaders, educators must draw conclusions without any time of considering or evaluating what follows. It's a big question and big problem for anybody in our fields. If I say a few words about the European level, first of all, we have two movements. Media literacy movement, it's coming mainly from America already decades back. How much people should be media literate, not only in the traditional print media, but also image, visual, audiovisual media, film, and so forth. Another movement has been a little younger e-learning movement, 10 years or 20 years that should we move more and more to electronic learning in everything. And this has now come to a kind of turning point. E-learning in the traditional sense is not making progress because it's too technical, too platform-based. It's moving to social web, to more and more community-based learning. I personally speak not only on media competence, but digital competence. And this is something that, in my opinion, is making progress in this field. A couple of years ago, if you take the European and let's say global industry perspective, this is the way big industry, who are our customers, I mean, that who is going to employ our people? They are the corporations, usually very often global, but also small, medium-sized enterprises. They want to have technology literacy. They want people who are capable of dealing with new technology. Information literacy, contextual literacy, something that libraries are more and more providing. There has been discussion in this conference about what is the role of librarians or libraries in the information knowledge society. We have discussed this for long, and it is particularly important now that there's an institution or there's an arrangement in educational institutions that somebody is able to provide not only teachers, learners, and students, but also citizens with capabilities and literacies to search, process, and present information. Global literacy refers to the skill and competence of dealing with different cultures. We are no more Eurocentric or no more American-centric. It is a big civilizations like Europe. In Asia, you have several that we have to learn and deal with. Media creativity being that different media are being used for different purposes, and literacy today is much more than reading. It's also digital creation. In the UNESCO organizations, the International Institute of Educational Planning is ongoing, is having two types of forums at the moment. Of course, technology is number one, but also the cultural issue that nobody is very comfortable with somebody else producing contents from abroad. Everybody wants to be at least participating in the content production from their own cultural perspective. Nobody wants to be passive users. People want, and institutions and countries want to be providers, and nobody wants to be a colony. Everybody wants to be empowered to present and develop and create their own approaches. So this is ongoing discussion about what is free and open software for open educational resources. And as I said, this discussion is still ongoing. There's no final summary yet, but what I can say is that the debate, to my surprise, opened also the basic issue, what is open educational resource? What do we understand? Because the model comes from MIT, and MIT is, as you know, is giving free all of its courses, lectures, videos, and materials for anybody, open courseware as they call it. It's a model of changing educational institutions throughout the world, also UNESCO. But this is some findings of the discussion that collaborative environments to design, edit, and publish is something, and virtual learning environments are being developed. What is interesting in this context, and this is a challenge to libraries, is Wikipedia and Encyclopédie. In a Tunis summit 2 years ago, it was a big debate between different representatives. Which can you trust more? And we know that you can trust both or you can trust none. Anyway, the Wikipedia is as an open, free user system is revolutionizing, in my opinion, the whole educational and even encyclopedia world. There's not only Wikipedia, there's Wikiversity, a kind of community that learners and teachers participate and create the contents together. It's so new, it's too early for anybody to say where does it lead to, what does it mean. and what will follow. I only mention it here that it is an open access format that even non-professionals can edit and add articles. What follows? If you, does the community correct mistakes itself, and how reliable will it be? Another area is web blogs. I don't need to explain you all these things. I just want to say that this is also changing very much the traditional way of thinking and working in community, in politics, in media, and how much, because it's not the public, it's not the private, it is something created by the new media that anybody can have a personal diary or comments or discussion and make it public for anybody. Again, what follows for the control and censorship. We are concerned in our part of the world, how can we go beyond digital literacy, how can we provide people with capacities that they are employed and they are also empowered to lifelong learning in a society of knowledge. This is the movement in Europe at the moment, that the big corporations are participating actively in the development of digital know-how, digital literacy, and of course digital libraries. And there's a technology group which is very active. The conclusions are here very briefly, that we speak about digital competence, and we speak about the need that there should nobody should be excluded. It should be an inclusive process, that you cannot develop an elite society. Some people know and some people are excluded. And at the end is also that, is it a right for all, a digital literacy? Finally, a couple of sentences about the communication, because my background is in communication and media before coming to education, so that it will be a skill and for the future as well as it's been in the past. So we will always need communication skills. And I'm not going to the theory so much. I'm just pointing you out that if you want to have employable people, we need some of these skills, and we need institutions to support, understand the context of information and present this, distribute in a meaningful way. This is difficult to acquire because the educational institutions are behind. And if you look at the corporate world, it is that the big ones do. I can tell you that in my country, you know, the big company, one of the big corporations is Nokia. And Nokia has every day 55,000 people e-learning throughout the world. 55,000 people constantly on e-learning. Of course, they can develop their own learning platforms, systems, and practices, and so forth. But the small and medium-sized companies, no, they need our help. And they are the most who employ more in the world. And finally, my view is this, that in this kind of complex world, we need more than before art, religion, humanities, together with technology and science. Otherwise, human beings cannot survive, and we cannot develop that kind of thinking and that kind of philosophy that helps us to survive and get meaning to this world of rapid change. So thank you very much.